The Trans-Tasman stoush over the deportation of Kiwi criminals has turned personal. In an interview with Sky News, New Zealand's Deputy Prime Minister has poked fun at Peter Dutton's unsuccessful leadership tilt in 2017. Winston Peters has also challenged Scott Morrison to a debate on deportation.
2,032 deportations from Australia to New Zealand, and the contrast is only 13 from New Zealand to Australia since 2015. Now really, we are saying that if you respect another country, we should have regards to that other country's views when laws are made as well. And so when someone arrives in Australia when they're 1 year of age, surely the cultural surroundings of that new country created that person, not their origins from New Zealand in the first place. That's pretty obvious.
Why don't you think the Australian government gets this?
I don't know whether they don't get it, but I've raised it with Maurice Payne, my Foreign Affairs counterpart in Australia, from a contractual or legal point of view. It is just so wrong. And we are saying, have a good hard look at the map of where you are in Australia and the surrounding countries and ask yourself, which country should you be on the best of terms if you possibly can be? And that country is New Zealand. We're old friends, we go back centuries in terms of our association, and this is one area where, sadly, we've got to be honest with each other and say what we don't like. I'm happy to have a debate with them anytime they like.
Who with?
The whole lot of them.
The Prime Minister?
Yes, the whole lot. I was involved in politics a long time before Mr Morrison got involved in the game.
Was it disrespectful for the Prime Minister to travel to Australia and blast Scott Morrison while she was in his country as a guest?
Well, if you think that straight talking and plain talk is a matter that's...
Yeah, but this straight talk normally takes place behind closed doors. It's quite rare to see what we saw on Friday afternoon unfold in public.
Well, with respect, I've heard too many Australians, including Mr Dutton, making their comments, not behind closed doors, straight out front. And when you send serious criminals that we've never seen in this country over here, out of Australia, when their whole background is Australian in origin, it's plainly unfair.
Peter Dutton says Jacinda Ardern's comments were regrettable. She says his policy is regrettable. He has suggested that the Prime Minister is grandstanding on this issue ahead of the election. Is that what motivated her public outburst?
Well, my evidence against that is that I raised that last year with Foreign Minister in our Australian meetings in Australia. I raised it with Maurice Payne then. So he can't say that because it's simply chronologically incorrect.
Is it disrespectful then for him to say that, to suggest that the only reason Jacinda Ardern is publicly challenging the deportation policy is because of domestic politics here?
Oh, look, I could make the cheap shot myself and say this is one of the things that saw someone going to the Liberal Party caucus to become the leader. He knocked on the door and everybody said knock knock, and the answer was, who's there? ScoMo, not Mr Dutton. This was his campaign ploy. I'm very much aware of that.
You're not a big fan of Peter Dutton?
No, I'm not criticising his right to say what he's saying, but I have got the right to point out the chronological inaccuracy of what he's saying.
The facts have been laid bare for the Australians to hear and see for quite some time now. The indications from Scott Morrison, from Peter Dutton, is that there is going to be no policy change. Does New Zealand have to accept at some point that that is the reality on this issue?
Well, I mean, politicians can make up their mind, and we respect the right of the Australian government to make their decisions. But I make this very clean point. When the tragedy happened, and the massive terrorist act happened in my country on the 15th of March last year, did we behave that way? No. We won't even mention his name. Did we blame Australia? No. Because we realise this can happen, and we need to cooperate with Australia and all sorts of countries to get the kind of information that determines these people on the radar and their likelihood to behave like that in the future. So we need each other.